Welcome to the Tuesday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Tuesday morning. We are just awaiting the co-host. Hold on, folks. We're just awaiting the co-host as soon as she gets some breakfast and uses the restroom. We should be good to go. We do have a couple of things to go over, so we'll wait till she's ready. Until then, you guys are stuck with me. There is something important that I do want to go over, though. Let's see here. I think we missed this yesterday, so I'm just gonna put this up here.
We're part of
Okay, here we go.
There are some individuals who took advantage of the small business loans that were part of the coronavirus relief package that probably shouldn't have touched that money. So we're gonna tell you a little more about who they are and why we think it's a bad idea to take advantage of this money that was supposed to be used for small businesses to entice them to keep their employees on payroll. This was supposed to eventually help actual workers, but in some cases, that's not what happened. Now we're finding out that people ranging from bachelorette stars to non-existent orange farm owners in Minnesota took full advantage of the program. As Vice News reports, Taisha Adams, who's co-hosting the current season of The Bachelorette, after starring as the Bachelorette in 2020, got a $20,833 PPP loan for her LLC. And then there are other examples. Arnie, an ex-bachelor, also received over $20,000 in a PPP loan alongside his wife, Lauren Burnham, at Lewandike, I think, Lewandike. They shared Arizona-based LLC. Their shared Arizona-based LLC is called Instagram Husband LLC. Okay, so you know what they are? They post things online. They're influencers.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Maybe they're self-employed. They're self-employed. They're self-employed. Like, what are they doing?
Well, they're together. It's beautiful.
Hey, KTS Shine, how's it going?
Because his hand is going out into the photo and hers is drawing it in towards the beach. So
oh yeah, those are,
they're not
right.
solo.
That does take a lot of work.
It does, well, I mean, it's something.
It takes a lot of work.
By the way, in reading about this, apparently there are a number of companies called Instagram Husband. It's like not even an original name for a company. There's a bunch of them.
Can you do that? Can you have multiple LLCs under the same name? It
depends on what state it's in and stuff like that. Little variations on the name, but that's a basic idea.
That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. By the way, these LLCs are described as if they're meant for independent artists, writers, and performers. Which
all right, folks, just give me 1 second. Howdy, howdy.
Hello.
Cool. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. My camera's doing some shit.
Yes, make sure you get your coffee, KTS Shine. I'm bringing in the co-host right now. In fact, let me switch over. Oops. No. There we go.
There we go.
All right. Cool. Hey. By the way, how are you feeling after after that second shot? It's been a couple days. I'm pretty sure it's already on the downturn.
I thought I was great till I went to the gym. I don't know if I'm alive really still or not. I may not really be alive right now.
Well, we'll figure it out.
It was brutal.
Does your arm specifically hurt, or?
Okay, that might be.
Hey, Bilderberg, how's it going? That shot is great for anyone who has insomnia. True. True. True.
My arm hurts. My arm hurt and I got tired. Unexpectedly tired. That was
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. As long as Bailey.
dun, 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 dun.
As long as it's like not more than that, I think it's fine.
Ooh, they kicked my ass at the gym today, boy. Ooh.
Well, it
And
could be
I
worse.
don't know why I, like a crazy person, said to my friend who owns the gym, I'm not working all week. And she goes, oh, good. That means you can come in every day. And I'm just there like,
Well, no, you shouldn't come in every day. Wait. No, that's not how that works. That's actually bad for you. Like, as long as you can, like, take a day of rest in between.
I'm just like,
Jesus, can you imagine? No. Not even we did every
You
day.
know what? You know what's bad? Is that I always think I'm doing okay afterwards. And then I get to the stairs.
Yeah.
And then I start going down the stairs and my legs are like going like this. And I'm like, oh god,
Oof.
this is how I die.
No.
And today, I had to go back down to my Jeep and get my wallet and come back up.
Oh, no.
And then go back down again.
Oof. Yikes. Well, I
was
suppose you
like,
can
I'm just
rest.
gonna take my phone with me and hopefully I retain consciousness for at least a moment so that I can call for help.
Is Bailey gonna start, like, doing those, like, little remixes for us?
I think so. Bailey.
DJ Cat
Why you
Bailey.
always like to show your butt to everybody, weirdo? Such a little
Isn't, like, when cats do that a good thing?
Yeah, it means he likes you.
Yay. I mean, at least it's just like soreness from working out,
I thought I was gonna die.
because it'd be another thing if you still felt like really sick because of the you know, secondary effects of the
I think it's a combination.
accommodation.
Yeah, because I didn't think I was gonna. Okay, no, that's not true. I threw up last time. I didn't
Oof.
throw up this time, so
Yeah,
I'm
it could.
still. Listen, the jury's still out on that. I'm still nauseous.
Oof. It
So
it could
if
just.
I just get up and I run,
Then we know what happened.
safe to say that okay.
But nonetheless, I
Workout's
think that's
hitting
more
me.
to do with the fact that you may have worked out more than you should have.
Oh, I stopped halfway through this time. Okay, so here, like the routine was on the board,
Mhm.
and I struggled through it, but I did it. And I even went up on my height on box jumps, and I was jumping on a box that was like 14 inches tall, so that was cool. But then I finished the list, and I went and got water, and everybody else started doing it again, and I was like, oh, hell no.
Now, here's the $1 million question. Was this because, oop, there it goes. Of course.
Can't hear you, Carlos.
Yeah, I know, it died. Here,
Okay, now I can hear you again.
Here-
I heard here's the, and then Discord crashed.
yeah, here's the $1 million question. did this happen because you stopped working out for a bit and then you're just trying to get back into it?
I wish. I think it's the stupid asthma.
It's the asthma? Then maybe like, I don't know, like it.
Because like what happens?
Pace it out.
It's not like my body physically gives out. It's like, okay, I just ran 20 feet and my heart's gonna explode.
Yeah.
It's like, what the shit?
Yeah. Don't be ashamed to go at your own pace if you don't. If you know that you're doing everything you can. Yeah. Like that's exactly what
absolutely.
Absolutely. That's what I'm trying to get at. Like maybe it's just like, I don't know, because sometimes, that happened to me when I would, for example, go on like even a week hiatus. When I would come back, it would feel like that,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like I'm not an active person. I mean, obviously, I have to take care of everything around here,
Yeah.
and during the week, building cabinets and stuff, and loading and unloading trucks.
Yeah, but that's not, yeah.
And pallets moving.
Well, maybe
pieces
that's why,
for
because
wood.
you're already working out and then you're
Like-
adding the gym on top of the hard work. Oh my goodness.
No, like I get winded doing that stuff too, but
Oh.
I can lift. But when I start doing anything with cardio, it's like, okay,
Oh,
nope,
okay.
bye.
Well, yeah, that's why you feel nauseous. I think you may be pushing like the cardio a little bit too much because of you said asthma, maybe.
I guess that's what it is.
Maybe. So just
That's
like,
what I think it is, because I had asthma as a kid, and then went away for a long time.
yeah, same.
And after I got bronchitis, whenever that was, a year or two ago,
It was like a piece of the tail.
I've been on the inhaler ever since.
Yeah, it can happen. That happened to me as a child too. I used to be on like the oh god, those like old machines, the nebulizers. I used to need a nebulizer, like as
Back in my day.
Yeah, as a kid, like as a young kid, the way like a piece of the tail just goes by the screen. My parents used to make me get into the whole medicine thing because I didn't like it. I hated it. I hated the fact that I had to like sit there and like do the nebulizer thing. So what they would do, or what they would tell me, is that actually when you think of it as being Darth Vader for a few minutes from Star Wars, and that's how they got me to do the medicine. Because man, yeah. I remember playing rugby for the first time in 10 years. One time, and I thought I was gonna puke after 20 minutes. Yeah. Like that's exactly how I feel. Like right now, if I were to go from 0 to 100, that's probably what would happen. Like I would have to build up very slowly. Because I too don't have the cardio capacity. Like I could probably do weights and stuff, but if I started to like run like I used to, like a 0 to 100, there'd be no way. There'd be no way I could do that.
Yeah, no, I'd die.
Yeah.
This is why I'm good at fighting and good with weapons, because I can't run.
Yeah, because I can't run, so you don't have a choice. Yeah, I'm not.
I would just stand my ground.
I'm not.
This is my hill. I will die on it.
I'm neither fast either. Like I mean, I can be. With like in terms of running, I can be fast, but I'm not an endurance runner. So there's no out there. All right. So we were as you were getting on Discord, we were going over a video. Apparently, some Hollywood like stars were found to have somehow, and this is beyond me, access to the payment protection program from the government, which is wild to me, as this was supposed to be for small businesses, and we're seeing people who are obviously not needing it, nor a small business, somehow obtaining access to these funds. So we're gonna take a look here and see what this is about. Let me just rewind for everybody. I was a super athlete before the pandemic, but now I'm walking to the grocery store. It hurts my hips. True. I feel that. True.
There are some individuals who took advantage of the small business loans that were part of the coronavirus relief package that probably shouldn't have touched that money. So we're gonna tell you a little more about who they are and why we think it's a bad idea to take advantage of this money that was supposed to be used for small businesses to
didn't
entice
Kanye
them
get
to
like
keep
5
their
million for his
employees on
clothing
payroll.
company?
This was
Yeah, it
supposed
made
to eventually
unbelievable.
help actual workers, but in some cases, that's not what happened. Now we're finding out that people ranging from bachelorette stars to non-existent orange farm owners in Minnesota took full advantage of the program. As Vice News reports, Taisha Adams, who's co-hosting the current season of The Bachelorette, after starring as the Bachelorette in 2020, got a $20,833 PPP loan for her LLC. And then there are other examples. Arnie, an ex-bachelor, also received over $20,000 in a PPP loan alongside his wife, Lauren Burnham, Lewandike, I think, Lewandike. They shared Arizona-based LLC. Their shared Arizona-based LLC is called Instagram Husband LLC.
What?
Okay, so you know what they are? They post things online. They're influencers.
They're influencers.
Meaning they're self-employed. They're self-employed.
Okay, so wait a minute. I mean, listen, I understand that like the economy benefits from having, access to these things as quickly as possible to as many people as possible. However, I think that like maybe they should have, I mean, for the more like higher thresholds of numbers, maybe they should have done a little bit more filtering when it came to like just having more having to dish out like more money. I think like after a certain threshold, right? I think that it should raise red flags after a certain threshold.
That's insane.
I mean, like, imagine being Kanye West and getting $5 million. Like, wait. It just doesn't make any sense. They show, no, they go into it knowing that the government doesn't like sparing a nickel, so they'll come back for their money. I know someone who used the COVID loan to refinance their debt because the interest rate is less on the COVID loan. Governments have been bad administration at the loans. Yeah, like I'm not necessarily knocking the idea of like just trying to get out as much relief as possible. I just think that after a certain threshold, like if you're asking for like, I don't know, above $1 million or something like that, then a little bit more scrutiny would come down on you, because like, I don't know, I feel like,
Yeah, you better be paying people with that money. Not
right,
just,
that's
like,
like it was supposed to be used for.
get a new beach house.
Yes. Oh, did we, like, I think we went over the story where this one guy, of course, in Miami, used that PPP loan to like buy a whole bunch of stuff. Like he was out with like a Lamborghini and stuff like that. And then like he thought he was going to get away with it, and then like the authorities showed up. Needless to say, he no longer has these things and has to pay that money back. But like the idea that I don't know. I think maybe a little bit more like stringent like barriers are needed after a certain point, right? Because like, I don't know, feels like to me like if you're a Instagram influencer who's self-employed and makes like a bunch of money, who has no employees necessarily, you're self-employed, I don't know. Yeah, a few politicians made the news for PPP fraud as well. Yes, that's also true. Like, wait, why are politicians getting these loans? Wait. Oh, man.
Like, what are they doing?
Well, they're together. It's beautiful.
Hey.
You know it because his hand is going out into the photo and hers is drawing it in towards the beach. So
yeah, those are,
they're not
right.
solo.
That does take a lot of work.
Well, I mean, it's something.
Takes a lot of work.
By the way, in reading about this, apparently there are a number of companies called Instagram Husband. It's like not even an original name for a company. There's a bunch of them.
Can you do that? Can you have multiple LLCs under
It
the
depends
same
on what
name?
state it's in and stuff like that. Little variations on the name, but that's the basic idea.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. By the way, these
Amazing.
LLCs are described as if they're meant for independent artists, writers, and performers. performers, which it's just a fancy way of saying that they're online influencers. That's what they do. But they think about it. They took over $20,000 in PPP loans, which were intended for companies that have employees.
Yeah.
In an effort to prevent them from firing or laying off those employees. That's not what happened here. They just, anyway, okay, let me give you more. These are the more egregious examples, if you ask me. One other company that is a target of a federal investigation is known as Kabbage. It's an online lending platform that handed out hundreds of thousands of PPP loans. In fact, 75% of all the loans that Kabbage issued actually had no human to review it. Sounds like what the housing market was like prior to the 2008 collapse. They issued about 378 PPP loans worth about $7 million to fake farms that just don't exist. There was an Orange Grove farm in Minnesota.
Yeah, like they just made this up. I wonder who like actually received this money, because I mean, unless they were giving it to a fake farm, but it's actually themselves. I mean, like, I don't know. wait. How does this even happen? Again, like I definitely think that there should have been like a little bit more scrutiny after X amount. Like if you're doling out, if you're asking for like, I don't know, $1 million at that point, at that threshold, then more scrutiny is warranted. Because like if you're asking for $1 million, you must be like in dire straits, or like you need to pay your employees. That's the whole point of it. Unbelievable.
For instance, we don't grow oranges in Minnesota. There were a number of farms in Ocean County, New Jersey.
An orange farm in the middle of Minnesota? I mean, how did they even get away with this? Doesn't even make sense. And there were a number of farms in Ocean County, New Jersey, which is a beach community. Explain to me how anybody like would be like, oh yeah, there's definitely farms here in a beach community.
Jersey, which is a beach community. It doesn't have farms, and that's a statement from Dr. Craig Holman.
I don't believe this. Yeah. Oh wait, no, hold on. We got a great we got a great idea here. Yeah. They were farming coconuts. Thank you, Bilderberg. They were yeah.
I love it.
There you go. That's it. That's what it is. It's a farm of coconuts by the beach.
And from the Public Citizen organization.
I don't know what you want. Like, without the $7 million, we might never grow oranges there. At least now we have a chance, a fighting chance for Mideastern citrus.
It's just fake companies.
Yeah, totally. No, but doesn't it seem like with the orange thing that like they're kind of like trying to like see how far they can go? Why would you say that? Just say it's for potatoes or beets or something. Yeah, I think it's not even about the money.
Like, ooh, like they get goosebumps. Like, ooh, how much can how can I, scam the federal government at a time when people are desperate for financial relief? These people are awful.
Yeah, there's always going to be those.
So when Kabbage was reached for comment,
there's always going to be those types who try to like game the system, or commit fraud or abuse the system. That still doesn't mean that we shouldn't that still doesn't mean we shouldn't have these type of programs during this time, like, the payment protection programs and stuff like that. Doesn't mean we should get rid of them. There will always be people who try to take advantage of this, but I think for the majority, it has been a useful lifeline, especially to certain like small businesses who needed it. More often than not, this type of fraud is done by employees of some of the banks because they know the system and what's required to qualify. And I say this as someone who works in the industry. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Hey, Hildebeest, how's it going? Howdy.
Welcome.
The hardest working mod on Twitch. Please go give them a follow. They are unironically the hardest working mod on Twitch.
Don't tell me what to do, Carlos.
All right, hold on, folks. Let me go back to that.
It was impossible to get in touch with anybody. Their line actually was disconnected. Congress also recently announced an investigation into the role of fintech firms and partner banks for the same reason. So let me give you those details. Fintech industry and its bank partners have been linked to a disproportionate number of fraudulent PPP loans, raising questions about whether fintechs and their bank partners have adequately screened PPP loan applicants for fraud.
Amazing.
By the way, like where's the Republican Party that loves to just annihilate any type of social safety net program by arguing that it's waste, it's government waste, it's full of fraud? I guess fraud's okay in some instances, right?
Well, in their defense, they probably would have blocked literally all of this if they could have, and then we wouldn't have had the fraud, and a lot of other people would die. Yeah, I mean the issue there is
now. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Yes, it's true that they probably most likely would have attempted to vote to block as much aid or kind of lowball the amount of aid. I don't know. I work hard 200% of the time as a mod. True. This is true. This is facts. These are 100% facts. While the amateurs are getting caught in the area bank managers above the bankers and branch managers know all the way to cover their tracks and underlings to have their backs. Yep. Right-wingers don't mind to returning the money to private business since they believe it will help the economy. Sometimes, yes. I need to up my game up at 300%. I'm a slacker. No. Hail the beast. Playing devil's advocate, though, they previously mentioned like people on Instagram and etc. made the point that influencers aren't legitimate businesses, but who's to judge that? I mean, is Twitch a legitimate business? If your Twitch channel exists as outdoors channel during your lockdown, you can't go outside. Would that be legitimate reason to claim government assistance? Yes. Yes, it would be. However, it wouldn't be a legitimate reason to claim payment protection loans for employees that don't exist. So like you should be able to qualify for like pandemic relief funds. I think that there is also other programs for that because yes, being an Instagram influencer, being a Twitch streamer, or being essentially what you are is self-employed. At the same thing as Uber drivers, the same thing as DoorDash. They all got access to aid as working for yourself. So if you're like an influencer, or if you're, I don't know, a Twitch streamer, whatever, and yes, you should access these type of like federal, aid. That's the whole point of it. However, you are, if you're like trying to take out PPP loans for employees that don't necessarily exist, I don't know. These are more like they can be legitimate businesses. In the sense that like you run your own platform, you're your own business, but you shouldn't be able to access like payment protection programs if you don't have employees, right? Like for example, we don't have employees, so what we would qualify for would be like an individual thing, yeah, an individual response, and they would counter. Would be like, oh yeah, but my cameraman, I usually can't pay him because I have no income, which gets more complicated and I suppose more case specific. Maybe, I mean, if that's your employee, then you should have a W-2 issued out to that said cameraman. Like that's your employee. Yes, then you would qualify. Absolutely, you have an employee. You need to pay these people. Absolutely. So it just depends and be more case specific. That's right, James.
Is with the financial tech companies, like, in theory, you would want to screen these if there were some sort of regulations wherein if you passed a certain percentage or absolute dollar amount of fraud, it might be an indication that you're being purposefully lax, and there might be some sort of financial fines for you or something. I don't know for sure, but I'm gonna guess those things don't exist. Right. What I will guess probably does exist is that these financial tech companies make some amount of money off of each of the loans that they're able to get.
Totally, yep.
So why would they want to screen them more carefully? It's a bonanza and they're skimming a bit off the top of it.
Yeah, and like that's the thing though. What the heck?
Hi.
Yeah, and like that's the thing. The government like in their attempt to give out all of this like relief as quickly as possible, they tried to, you know, just kind of spread, you know, just let go of the funds now and then scrutinize later, which I understand the economic situation required that, but I think that it should have been with a caveat saying that if you commit fraud, these things will be audited, and they will be audited later on. You know.
So frustrating. A WCNC Charlotte investigation found tens of thousands of dollars also went to farms in North Carolina and South Carolina with names that aren't even registered businesses. Some had addresses that led to abandoned buildings and empty fields. So final piece of info for you guys on this, because well, like, what's the dollar amount? As far as we know at this moment, how much money was scammed from this PPP program?
Well, and can I also say, as I was doing all of your reading, until I read what you're about to say, I mostly thought, how much do I actually care about this? But then,
look at this guy, John, proponent of ripping off the federal government and the US taxpayer. Well, okay, so what is the number? Well, the House Select Subcommittee found that the Treasury Department and SBA failed to institute adequate safeguards to prevent waste, fraud, and abuse in pandemic relief programs, leading to nearly $84 billion in potentially fraudulent loans.
Nice.
which I think I recall is like exactly as much as it would cost each year to make public college free for everyone. That's just in
Why
the
would
like.
we want that when we can, you know, have a program that scammers can take full advantage of with no safeguards to ensure that, you know.
80, like, so the total amount is estimated at 84 billion. I would have to see, but if that's true, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, look, it's a demonstration that my fear about stories like this is that they will be picked up.
What happened?
Now my hand smells like his nasty cat treat. See him sniffing my hand. He's like, but you smell like it. Where's the rest of it? If you bite me, I will flip.
Well,
You see that? He thought about it for a second.
yeah.
Bailey, one more little piece. Don't bite me. Be gentle. Ow! Chomp right.
He's like, what? What is a gentle? I don't know the meaning of that word. Just give me my cat treat.
Hey Bailey, that's it. That's all I got for you, man.
Give me my cat treat.
Please don't hurt me. Ha!
Up and spread by people who want to avoid programs like this in the future, rather than people who want to continue to have the programs because they're necessary, but want to make sure.
Wait, what happened?
He wanted to leave the room before to play with Little Bit. That's why he was crying. Yeah, he wants out. Hold on. God damn it.
Aw.
Bailey.
Bailey.
Sure that there are safeguards, there are watchdogs and all of that. We do need that. Like nobody advocating for more bureaucracy or bureaucrats is gonna get like a rousing like standing ovation or anything. But these programs can exist and we can afford them if we have people overseeing things like the PPP, similar programs that are longstanding, that are not pandemic specific, and as well the IRS. Like that's something that a lot of people have been pushing for, including Ro Khanna recently. Like we do need more of that.
Yes, definitely. I mean, the fact that the IRS is underfunded isn't a great thing for working class people,
True.
right? Because what they end up doing with their limited resources is they focus on auditing people who barely make any money.
Who have simpler returns.
Tax returns, exactly. So limited resources mean they
Well,
can't go after incredibly wealthy individuals who are evading tax.
Well, like, I imagine that they wouldn't just... The reason why it's bad for them not to have resources is because, like, well, they just can't do audits, period. They don't have the they don't have the resources, so they're not going after anybody, and that's the problem.
He's a little shit.
Did you let him out?
I tried. This is what he did. He just sat here.
Okay. Well, I guess you're hanging out with us, Cat.
Like this. Bailey, why are you like this?
That's fine. You can hang out.
What did I do to deserve this?
I mean, maybe if you bring Little Bit in, they get.
I tried. He won't come in. That's what I was over there screwing around, trying to get the other cat to come in, and he's like, nope, I'm just gonna stand outside the door and look at you,
Aw.
but I'm not gonna come in there. Like,
But
you little
Biden is a. But Biden is a leftist saving the planet. Yes, it's exactly correct. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
You would not believe this little cat. I am going to lose it.
Can everybody go to twitch.tv/bleepblopben? Give him a quick follow there. Oh no, what happened to the
I don't know, it's not working.
there, wait.
The other-
Oh. Nope, it just there
There we go.
wait.
Look at him. Can you see him?
Yep, he's chilling on the floor. Oh, and it just kicked. Excellent.
You believe this?
Aw. Alright, well, I guess Bailey can hang out. On the floor.
Freaking weirdo.
I mean, hey, I'm fine with Bailey just chilling there.
Bailey, why are you like this?
Taxes, because their taxes are way more complicated and far more difficult to investigate.
Yeah.
You need resources for that. And so Trump knew what he was doing when he cut funding to the IRS.
And listen, you want to know how smart I am? I parked in the front of the house so I wouldn't have to go up the stairs.
Nice. Nice. That's thinking ahead there.
But when I went to open the front door, Bailey was apparently laying up against the front door.
Did he
and we
bolt
don't
out?
really- No, he just like got scooted out of the way and was like, "What the hell just happened to him?" I guess he was sleeping. We don't go in and out that door much,
That's funny.
and I didn't.
'Cause
see Bailey before I left, so I don't know if he knew I was gone or not.
That's funny. Bailey.
Is also facing an investigation for evading taxes.
Bailey.
So
And the Democrats know what they were doing when they never raised those funds, even when they were in unilateral control of the process.
Totally.
You're
Thanks
trying
for
to be a
watching The Young
pretty
Turks.
boy.
Really appreciate it. Another way to show support.
You see how big he is?
Yeah, yeah.
He's approximately the size of one snare.
Approximately the size of one. The equivalent. The equivalent size to one snare.
Don't you see? He would like
Yeah,
fit
yeah. No, he would.
perfectly.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he would.
Any music nerds out there might appreciate that.
I mean, you could see it. You got the shot with the drum set there, and you can kind of, although from here, sometimes it almost looks like Bailey can like blend into the carpet. Like if you were just to like flat out.
I've been trying to get him to come in, but he won't come in.
Wait, do we get another cat?
Yeah, he runs away.
Aw.
Ed was trying to get Little Bit to come in because he's laying on the outside of the door like Bailey's laying on the inside. Freaking weirdos. But he won't come in and Bailey won't go out.
Okay.
So they're just gonna lay it across
That's fine.
the door from each other.
Okay. I suppose. That's fine.
I don't understand.
If Bailey stops moving and would just kind of like loaf on the carpet, from here, he would look like
He
he's
would
just part of.
blend in.
Yeah, he would look like he's part of the
Be like, ooh, who spilled some tea on the carpet? Hey, Heat, how's it
A
going? Oh, he's a
resubscription
pretty boy.
for 12 months. Holy yikes.
Whoa! Thank you, Heat.
I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you,
We
thank
feel
you.
blessed.
Wait, way to make an entrance this morning. Good morning to you.
Now that's the side of the bed I need to wake up on.
Herding cats is like getting a maggot to accept election results. True. True. True.
Oh my
Bailey's
God.
like, you know what's I think is amazing? Like, like I see that Bailey knows how the door works because he keeps staring at the handle.
Yes, he does.
Yes.
So, okay, if he really wants to go in and out of a room, he will like make eye contact with me and then touch the handle.
Yeah, like listen, I can't reach this, or I can't really.
No,
But-
he can reach it. He just can't turn it because it's a knob.
Right,
This
it's
is
like-
why we don't have door handles.
Yeah, 'cause if
Bailey knows
not-
how to open doors.
Yes.
There's no if. There is I can tell you for a fact.
Yes.
He knows how to open doors.
I'm not surprised because like my my cat does the same thing. Like she knows that the handle is what makes the door go open or close. So sometimes like when we're doing gardening and we keep going back and forth, like she'll just stare at the door and at the handle and we'll be like, hey, like are you gonna open this for me or what? Like no. No. Because last time we opened the door, you decided to bolt outside, run to the dirt pile, and start rolling around in dirt, and we had to give you a bath. No, you're not going outside.
Bailey.
Hey, Larry
why are you
Vaccinated.
like this?
Who plays the drums? Well, Bree plays the drums. Really brought the heat this morning. True. Time to break the fast. Agreed.
I wouldn't say I play the drums, but I can hit things really hard.
Yep, there you go. I mean, that's one of the requirements, so there, you're off to a good start. Where's the lie, though?
That's what I need to start doing for cardio training.
Yes,
And it'll be good for my music training.
there you go.
But Ed's probably not going to be very happy.
You'd have to make like... You'd have to like insulate the entire room so sound doesn't go out.
If plywood wasn't so expensive, I could just build a freaking box.
Oh yeah, true. But last time, yesterday, you said plywood was like what, almost $50, half inch, or like
Half-inch plywood. Is $50 a sheet.
Oh,
Half-inch.
oh. Speaking of,
You want some cheap 3/4-inch plywood?
I mean,
that's $63 a sheet.
I mean, yikes!
It was 56 when I bought a sheet like whenever ago.
Wow.
Okay, I almost said a few weeks, but it was probably really no lie, like probably a month and a half ago.
Yeah, well, time works differently nowadays.
Yeah.
Time works differently. Like ever since working from home, time it literally works differently. I could have sworn that we were just like at the beginning of 2020. And now I realize that we're like past the middle of 2021.
What?
Yeah,
Like,
time.
The amount of days that I feel like I want to go wrangle plywood and strap it to the top of my Jeep are not many.
Yeah, well, I
Like,
mean,
if I could just blink and the plywood would show up on my sawhorses, I might be more inclined to work.
well, I mean, yeah, because you have the materials. But if said materials cost an arm and a leg, yikes.
Oh, I wanted to cry when I saw that it's like almost $200 just to build on to my chicken coop.
Speaking of which,
And I mean, I really shouldn't complain because let's be real, I got all the 2x6s that I had for free. My shipping crate, you could say, was free because I didn't pay shipping and they packaged it for free. So the shipping
Bailey.
crate is what ended up being the coop down there. So the only thing I actually paid for was chicken wire, which is also freaking expensive right now for some reason. Like, explain that. It's not more expensive to make these things.
Right.
And what else did I pay for? I bought some cement blocks for the coop to go on. So the chickens could be like underneath it when it's raining if they still want it to be outside or whatever. Or get out of the sun. And I bought 4 stakes to put in the ground in front of the cinder blocks because my backyard is a freaking hill. So the chicken coop is also a hill. Or on a hill, I should say.
Yeah.
So I kind of like leveled out everything the best I could when I put the blocks in. That way my coop would be sort of level. And then I just drove, I think they were like 18-inch metal stakes down into the ground in front of these cinder blocks. That way they wouldn't move.
Gotcha. Bookshelves are full of books are excellent sound dampening, not so much for the ceilings though. True. Yeah. I mean, for like just like studio purposes, if you just have stuff lying around and carpet, it's usually pretty good. I'm not sure how effective that will be of keeping out the drums, but it is a great way to do like soundproofing. I was gonna ask. Oh yeah. Speaking of chicken coops, you said that your rooster Hernando gave his first crow.
Well, it wasn't his first crow.
Well, his first
but
real
it was
crow.
His first like real like when you think of that stereotypical what a rooster makes that
Yeah.
noise. His just sounded like that for the first time today.
Yay.
He's been trying and he's been getting good, but like it just wasn't complete, you know. And today I went down there to let him out and I opened the door and he crowed. I was like,
Yeah.
look at you pretty boy. And I was standing right here. I heard it up close this time. Oh.
Are you allowed to keep a rooster within city limits? Yeah. Well, not here, but she can.
I can do basically whatever I want here. We might be getting quails too.
Aw.
And turkeys. So that'll be cool. Quails and turkeys, quails and turkeys.
Nice.
Yeah, my neighbors are breeding quails. So
Quails are like basically like fancy little chickens.
they told me that they would give me some. I'm like,
Nice.
okay. I'm like, I really want to get some turkeys. And I think, we used to be able to get like 8 or 10 turkeys for like $90 from Tractor Supply.
Nice.
So we might have a flock of turkeys.
Hey, I'm getting ready for a road trip. Cool. Most cities ban roosters in the city because of the crowing. Yeah, no, she's not really like, she's somewhere up in the mountains somewhere. Here in South Florida, yeah, you cannot have roosters. You can have hens, but you cannot have roosters.
Lame.
You mean like Boston Market? You'll be surprised the farm animals that most cities allow, as long as they don't disrupt the neighbors. Roosters are dicks anyways.
They are.
I think I see the double entendre there. But that's also true. Like we actually had at one point roosters. So story time, folks. We actually had at one point roosters in our parents' house, and they basically became part of, you know, the fam. They hanged out with Milky the dog, and unfortunately, because they were roosters, I think some neighbors must have called the city because we had to give them up.
Bastards.
Yeah, the rooster at the farm would spur me. Oof. Our roosters were like from you know, from very very young, from like basically chicks, so they would not do that. They actually thought they were part of Milky's little. They actually made themselves part of Milky's little pack. Of the dog. 20 hours of driving. Oof. North Dakota. Nice.
Yeah, you just come here instead. It'll be fun.
Yeah, just come to somewhere somewhere up in the mountains. It'll be fine. The next time like, if I ever make it to Canada, Memmius, I will absolutely love some extra hash browns and some of that maple syrup.
Hash browns or hash brownies?
Hash browns. Soon, dudes, I'm gonna be traveling the country. Hey, if you ever
Come on through.
if you ever stop by, let us know. Hey, sourcing both, yes.
Oh hell yeah, I'm down then.
Let's go.
All right, Heat, come pick us up.
Yeah,
and
come
we'll
pick
roll-
us up. We're going on a massive road trip.
We'll roll on through.
Oh man,
I keep trying to convince you to get into one of those like RV things or whatever, and just live in the backyard. But you're like, When see, we could just get in the RV and drive to Canada.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I think that's what Heat has. I think that's what she's doing. Like, she's gonna travel the country. That's pretty dope. I mean, like, a part of me wants to do that, but I don't know. A part of me has always been like,
Help me out, Heat.
always wanted to go like on a really massive like road trip, but then like, I don't know. Yeah, that's the plan. There you go. There you go. She's gonna buy one up north. Gotcha. Gotcha. Alright, folks. We've got, let me see here. No mortgage and total freedom. Oof. Ah. The dream. It's so frustrating how, like, if you want, like, a fair shake in terms of, like, trying to be a homeowner, if you want a fair shake, you gotta have, like, this thing called credit. And, like, that has absolutely nothing to do with anything in terms of, like, your ability to pay off a loan. I mean, it can show, like, a history, but, like, it has no bearing on, like, your ability to pay a loan. Like, your current, like, financial status in terms of, like, how much money you currently make and how long you've been at a job or something like that may be a better, way of being predictors. But, like, the idea that they have such high entry, such unnecessary, like, high entry barriers where, like, you have to buy, like, you have to pay, like, a massive down payment, and you have to have, like, an X amount of, like, credit score, which means really nothing. Like, imagine being, like, a renter for, like, years, and then being told that you can't pay a mortgage, which is cheaper. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? Like, we pay what? I don't know. Like, I'm gonna say, I think, like, 15, 16, 17? Something like that, right? That is way more than a mortgage. That is way more than a mortgage. Like, why can't we... Where's the deal here? I had a neighbor who had roosters. Who have a rooster, he likes to crow about 4 a.m. I never act on it, but I that Alice in Chains song a lot. Here comes the rooster. Yes. In the current market, I don't know how anyone making less than 100k could make a purchase of any home. You can't find anything still standing for less than 200k right now. Something livable is about 300k or more. Yes, in terms of, like, not needing much work or ready to move in or, like, decent. That's right. Hey, Jesse, happy Tuesday. I've been traumatized when the apartment started doing credit checks. Yeah, like, what is the point of, like, making these unnecessary barriers in terms of, like, I don't know, getting a roof over your head? Sounds kind of...
It's insane.
Yeah, sounds kind of weird. Yes, here comes to snuff. Here they come to snuff the rooster. Does anybody know where that song came from? Like, or what's it about? That song's actually about a Vietnam veteran. The Rooster was a nickname of a Vietnam vet.
Neat. I didn't
Mhm.
know that.
That's where that line comes from.
Bailey, why are you like this?
Yep, Alice in Chains. I actually got to see them live years ago. Years ago. Back in a world without a pandemic. And back in a...
He's too much, y'all.
They also charge you large application fees that are non-refundable for apartments. Yeah, not only that, you have to make sure you have like first, last deposit and all this other stuff. So it ends up being like, if you don't have about like five-ish grand, Oh, and also you have to have enough money to also do like the moving, to be able to move and all that other stuff. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I make good money, but just decided to keep renting for at least another year due to the market right now. Everything's 2 to 3 times what it was a year ago. It seems like a bad time to buy. Oh, 1,000% sourcing. 1,000%. I'm just like, I've been keeping an eye out on the housing market, and I feel like it's kind of suspect to me. I feel like a lot of these prices are artificial. Like they're not, this isn't realistic pricing, and I feel like that's a indication of a bubble. And said bubble eventually will pop. I recently bought a house and it's a pain in the ass. If I pay it off on time, I'll have to pay 2 times the purchase price in total and over 3 times the appraised value. Yikes. Yeah, that's what it's about. Pet deposits are $300 even for a snake, a bird, or hamster. That's wild. Imagine like tacking on like $300 for pets.
How about just have you sign your contract that you will pay for any damages? What the
Yeah,
hell is the point of
but like that's on
making
top
you
of that
pay?
because yeah, that's on top of that though, because if you do like the pet you know, deposits on top of that, if they do damage, then you pay for it on top of that. So like I don't know. Wow. I don't think the bubble will pop this time, but I do think we will see at least some adjustments down later this year, early next. I hope so.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Unbelievable.
We lucked out when we bought our house.
Oh yeah, 100%. Number one reason I bought instead of renting. True. Pet deposits are absolute usury. I agree. Like I don't know like how it's just like essentially what it is literal rent-seeking behavior. You're just adding $300 for the sake of adding it when you know that there's a security deposit anyways. I sold my last home for $420K. A 420. 420. Excellent price.
420. Is it time for a bong rip?
Alright, so I want to bring everybody's attention to this snapshot in time. I actually saw this on Facebook and I couldn't believe it. But it's true. This is from the government of New Zealand. Yikes. That's right, Jesse. If you pay a 30-year mortgage, chances are you have to pay real estate tax equal or greater to the original amount. Jeez, they already vaccinated. Here, check this out, folks. I just want to bring your attention to this just really quickly. This is a snapshot of an article. August 14th, 1912. 1912. And I believe this to be from the government of New Zealand, that keeps, like, I guess, records in terms of old articles. So just take a gander at this. And I want this to sink in for folks. Forget the idea that we've known about climate change since like decades and decades. It seems to me like preliminary, like the idea or the concept of global warming or climate change was thrown around in the 1900s. Yeah. I suspect that this is around the time a lot of the Industrial Revolution kind of stuff was going on. Let me see here. Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution. Yeah, anywhere from 1760 to 1820 to 1840. So this kind of lines up. A couple decades later, after the Industrial Revolution got on its way, that they kind of had an idea of what this was going to entail. It's not good, folks. It's not good. Jeez, Julio. All I know is I tried to put 80K on a condo and I got shot out because peeps out here are putting down full cash payments on everything. Jeez.
That's insane.
So just like entertain this idea for a second, chat. The furnaces of the world are now burning 2 million tons of coal a year. When this is burned, uniting with oxygen, it adds about 7 million. I think this is trillion. No, million. 7 million tons of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere early. This tends to make air more effective. This tends to make the air a more effective blanket for the Earth and to raise its temperature. The effects may be considerable in a few centuries. Wait, in 1912, these folks had a concept of what global warming could potentially do, or they had an idea that maybe sometime at some point down the road, this may be the effects may be considerable in a few centuries. Granted, back in 1912, I'm sure they didn't have the technology that we do, and their timeline was about centuries down the road. It's a lot less. I'm trying to get into a position where I can do a cash buy next year. Nice. Oh, I think we...
Yep, god dang it, Discord.
I wonder if, like, Zoom is any better.
Don't know.
I'm just not sold on maybe the sound quality on Zoom, but who knows. So just take that in, chat. In 1912, there was an article suggesting that maybe centuries down the road, this effect of, you know, burning coal or burning, you know, at the time, fossil fuels, coal, so the big one, would have a, quote, significant effect down the road. Centuries to come, in their eyes, they didn't know just how exponential the problem would end up being, but the concept has existed at this point, what, for... Would it be correct to say almost 100 years?
Over 100 years.
Yeah, over 100 years. What we need is regulations to saying only people who plan to live in the house they're buying can purchase. There's too many large investment firms buying up everything and renting out. That's a great idea. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. I would support that. Yeah, but we can't even get healthcare. True. That's true. That's true. So, let that sink in, folks. The importance of climate change is, like, the concept of climate change has existed long before Al Gore came on stage and dubbed these, like, PowerPoint presentations. Long before ExxonMobil hid and obfuscated research regarding climate change, long before, you know, there was a big movement, a big climate movement. I think like decades ago. This has been a concept for over 100 years. So the reality is, like, we have to come to terms. We have to come to terms with this reality. If not, I mean, a co-op housing, that could be an interesting concept. I don't think there should be private golf courses, true. I'd like to make any house that vacant to 6 months is free to a harmless person. There's an idea. Or like have governmental programs where all of these abandoned properties are then like bought up, or abandoned buildings are then bought up and turned into like housing complexes to get people off the street and provide resources so that they can, you know, have the tools that they need, whether it be like, I don't know, access to like trade school. Maybe they could take up a trade. Maybe they could access college. Maybe they could access any type of healthcare that they need and get them up and running. That would be interesting. Finland did that with great success. They just literally just did a housing program where they gave everything that everybody needed, and sure enough, 4 out of 5 folks made it out of that governmental housing. I live in co-op housing in Copenhagen, Denmark. It is quite common. There you go. Here's what I'm worried about: is are they going to run out of water in the southwest? Because that seems hella bad. Well, the problem is that we're already seeing issues with water in certain areas. Jesse, in the west, California, the Colorado River that provides water to millions of people, tens of millions of people, is drying up. Yeah. It's not good. It's not good. What exactly do you think is going to happen when all of this goes away, right? What happens when we can't access the water we're normally have the capabilities of accessing? What happens when all the food that we grow in the farmlands in the Midwest and stuff like that, the big farmlands, all of a sudden we can't grow them? What happens? Ain't no amount of money in the world going to solve that, right? Like in terms of like, oh yeah, we'll just throw money at the problem. Well, not necessarily, right? The reality is like we've got to get it together. Yeah, I'm sure we'll all just join together and solve the problem. No way we all just kill each other. True. True.
Hope these birds don't poop in my Jeep. I'm watching all the birds fly over the Jeep and the top's off.
Oh no.
You're like, oh no.
No, not like this. We interrupt the doomer news with some bird poop.
That's me. Comic relief.
I don't know. Throughout history, humans don't have the best track record. True.
We don't, and for good reason.
No water in the West. Too much water in Florida. Can we do some sort of trade? No can do. Our water sources aren't that great either. We can try to make a biodome that mimics nature to create contained rainstorms, renewable water sources, but there needs to be more research to avoid test this theory. It's possible. The reality is, like, by the time we make that a thing, if it is possible, by the time we make that a thing, it's too late. By the time we make that a reality, it'll be too late. So basically, the best thing that we can do is face this head on and aggressively, and do what we can in the time that we have with whatever technology we have at the time. as quickly as possible to get off fossil fuels and change our behaviors, because it's not sustainable. We're not gonna be able to get out of this mess. It's not something we can ignore. That's right, Jesse. Yes, James. It's hard to say with precision what will happen with water and rainfall because the air flows and air sea temperatures are changing. It may impact where rain falls and where it doesn't. For one example is that the flow of the cold and warm water in the Pacific are changing. Say rainfall in the East Africa, Australia, and as far as Western American continents. Yep. Technically, civilization has faced catastrophic drought in the Southwest before, and the results aren't good for the society involved. Yeah, true. So I just wanted to bring that out. Just, you know, it's important that we understand just how far back these issues go. Mother Nature does not need humans anymore, but we do need her, so it's up to us. We gotta get our boots on and get going. I mean, yeah, there is no other choice, human capital stock. There is no other choice. Alright. We gotta go over this article.
Do we though?
Yeah, we do.
We could just play Among Us.
We could just play Among Us and just shut off like the world for a few days. We could just do that. Maybe we'll have a
vacation.
Yes, maybe for Thursday we'll end Thursday, because that would be the last day of this stream week before we get to Saturday. The Thursday would be like Thursday will be we can make like a special stream, you know.
Hell yeah. Oh goodness. Oh no.
I feel you.
I should take some of my new caffeine pills. Then I can be like that meme.
Yeah.
Or it's like you take caffeine or drink coffee because you're tired and you want to stay awake.
Yep.
But now you're just really tired and your heart's beating really fast.
Yeah, true. That's right, James Snapper Tandy, which basically renders certain places unlivable, and we won't know that. It just happens because
oh my god.
Each domino that falls creates another each domino that falls has a different effect on the entire on the entirety of Earth's systems, including weather patterns, which is kind of what we rely on to grow food or go to or get water. Cold coffee and cola taste great together. What? Ooh, I don't know.
Okay, I could see that.
Nah. Well, the thing is, like, Larry vaccinated.
Carlos, you don't know.
Larry vaccinated. Population isn't a problem. It's just not. Population isn't the problem. The reality is, like, how we manage the resources and how we've been destroying it is the issue, not the amount of people. And like furthermore, like the birth rates have been dropping. In fact, you could see how birth rates have been dropping a lot. So like, it's not like that we're overpopulated, right? The problem is literally the people that are here that are doing the harm. The handful of people who control the corporations and all this other stuff are the people creating the products that are destroying the environment. Those are the problems. Those people are literally the problem. That's just the way it is, right? But with our track record, we have proved not to manage the resources well. So again, So again, it's not the amount of people, it's just what we do with said resources. It's just how we manage the resource. So it's not quote unquote population, because you can give credence to very, very dark paths that we do not want to go down. Larry Vaccinated. It's not how many, it's just what's wrong with us. True. And the lower birth rate is only local, not worldwide. It's pretty common. It's pretty common across all industrialized nations, and as more nations industrialize, and the more the birth rate falls. So it's not anything to do with overpopulation. That's just not a thing. Arguably, even based on the habits of the average European, there's only so much land to produce food. Last for the certification, and so yeah, like it just depends on how we do things, which is the issue, right? We live in a society where overconsumption is a thing. We live in a society where unsustainable methods of getting food is a thing. I mean, it's not the fact that we're quote unquote overpopulated. Because we can go down some really dark roads if we like entertain certain ideas or how these things can go bad. We have reduced population, just give women equality works every time. Yeah, but like that's not reducing population. That's just simply giving women like more power, more equality, which then they can choose, and usually that does reduce birth rates, not population. That's right. So again, it's not the overpopulation that's the issue. Does that make sense? Alright, folks. More than 99% of people who died from COVID were not vaccinated. Wow, amazing. This is breaking news, folks.
I don't know. Science is hard.
But we are in fact going down the darkest of roads. But it's not because of overpopulation. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. So yes, folks, I know this is breaking news. I know this is wild to entertain the idea that the people who are currently dying, from COVID are the unvaccinated. Wow. I don't believe you, Carlos. This is breaking news. This is just fascinating news. But yes, it is important to bring this up because people still have issues with vaccinations. Funny how Bill Gates and the other ghouls only think it's overpopulation of black and brown people. True. I'm not sure. Everyone knows if you get magnetic powers from vaccine, you'll be protected from 5G viruses. Yeah, this is actually a fact. So Anthony Fauci, Dr. Fauci said that more than 99% of the people who had died from COVID in June were not vaccinated, called the loss of life avoidable and preventable. If you look at the number of deaths, 99.2% of them are unvaccinated, or about 0.8% are vaccinated. No vaccine is perfect, but when you talk about avoidability of hospitalization and death, Chuck, it's really sad and tragic that most of these are avoidable and preventable. Yeah, so, this is... I know this is... It's really sad that we have to do, like, the obvious takes, but we live in a world where a lot of misinformation is around, so nowadays doing obvious duh takes are, like, part of the norm, right?
Oh, sorry. Off in my own little world over here.
No, it's all good.
Let me full screen so I can see.
Nope.
He added, what?
Your camera just like literally died when you started talking.
That was voice command, couldn't you tell?
Ah. Cool, when do my Magneto powers kick in? Yes. Right now.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a very, very good point. I see that now, James, and human capital stock. I see what you mean. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. He added, I mean, obviously there are going to be some people, because of the variability among people in their response to vaccine, that you'll see some who are vaccinated and still get into trouble and get hospitalized and die. But the overwhelming proportion of people who get into trouble are the unvaccinated, which is the reason why we say this is really entirely avoidable and preventable. Nearly 10,000 people in the US died from COVID-19 in June, Todd noted. The US has made strides in its vaccination effort, but ultimately fell short of President Biden's goal of having 70% of American adults at least partially vaccinated by July 4th.
I'm starting to get the feeling they should not have mysteriously disappeared the electric cars when they started making this in the 90s. Yeah, well. It's a double insult to the poorest, most vulnerable people. Yeah, so like, you know, when it comes to like the climate crisis, yes, that's who's going to get hit the hardest. Well, yes. I read some poor nations will not receive the vaccine until 2023. Yeah, and that's the problem because like, it gives too much time. It gives too much time for the virus to change and create more variants, which will make it a problem when it comes to vaccination. By that time, by 2023, who knows if there's another variant out there that will be resistant to these vaccines. As of Sunday, 67.1% of US adults have received at least one COVID vaccine dose. 47.4% of the total US population is fully vaccinated, according to CDC. So like, even this is July and we're still nowhere near herd immunity. We're like just over, I would say we're just over like what, we're like a third. We would need another 30% to be on board with this. Another 30 points to be on board with herd immunity. This is going way too slow.
Everybody's worried about getting that government microchip.
The government microchip. This is why the Cuban vaccine is exciting. Venezuela and Vietnam are building factories to make the Cuban vaccine. Well, I hope they can get as many vaccinations as possible. Just because, well, this is a problem that affects us all, right? And all of us are humans, and we all need this. On the road, see you later, guys. Peace. Hey, have fun, Heat. I'm just glad you stopped by.
Take care, Heat. Travel safe, and feel free to head this way.
Yeah. An analysis of government data by the Associated Press last month found that almost all recent deaths from COVID are among those who have not been vaccinated. Yeah, I mean, the data of May showed that 0.8% of the people who died were fully vaccinated, which translates to 150 people out of the 18,000 who died of the virus that month.
Me? You don't mean me. Let's see. Fauci urged people to put aside the ideological or anti-science stances that are leading people to not get vaccinated, telling Todd, and we do have the tools to counter it. So for goodness sake, put aside all of those differences and realize that the common enemy is the virus. When you have a situation like you have today, where you have a formidable enemy in the virus that has tragically really disrupted our planet for now about a year and a half. Destructive, destroyed economies, have just, what the hell? This is like mumbo jumbo. Have just disrupted us in every possible way, and yet we do have a countermeasure that's highly, highly effective. And that's the reason why it's all the more sad and all the more tragic, why it isn't being completely implemented in this country, Fauci said.
So TLDR, get vaccinated. I mean, like, seriously. I'm really concerned about, like, yeah, it's hard. It's like, these things are mutating, and what I'm worried about is if we don't get to that herd immunity ASAP, one of these variants is going to render these vaccines inert. And we have a tool, highly effective tool against this virus, and we in our country are very fortunate. We have enough vaccines to vaccinate essentially everybody in this country, and there are people throughout the world who would do anything to get these vaccines. So, we see here, we got the little video. Yes, so unnecessary deaths.
Look, we've discussed this.
I'm gonna play this here, and I'm going to take a quick bathroom break. So just give me one moment, folks.
Ew.
Just a moment.
Look, we've discussed this over and over again about what's driving this. There's always been a sort of an anti-vaccine 10 to 15%. But it isn't just the 10 to 15%. There's clearly been a political divide that's put over this. Have you discovered any new breakthroughs on how to break through this wall of hesitancy? Because again, I mean, I wanted to lead with this question. I think every death right now is nearly preventable, and yet we're knowingly watching us kill ourselves.
It's terrible, Chuck. Particularly, for those of us who've dealt with diseases in which you don't have an effective countermeasure, like a prevention. I mean, over the decades that I've been doing this, you're frustrated because you have diseases where you don't have an appropriate countermeasure, be it prevention or a treatment. And then when you have a situation like you have today, where you have a formidable enemy in the virus that has tragically really disrupted our planet now for about a year and a half, destroyed economies, have just disrupted us in every possible way. And yet we do have a countermeasure that's highly, highly effective. And that's the reason why it's all the more sad and all the more tragic why it isn't being completely implemented in this country. And whatever the reasons, as you said, some of them are ideologic, some of them are just fundamentally anti-vax or anti-science or what have you. But, we just need to put that aside now. We're dealing with a historic situation with this pandemic, and we do have the tools to counter it. So for goodness sakes, put aside all of those differences and realize that the common enemy is the virus, and we have a tool, a highly effective tool against this virus. And we in our country are very fortunate, Chuck. We have enough vaccines to vaccinate essentially everybody in the country. And there are people throughout the world who would do anything to get vaccinated. If you look at the world situation, 10% of the world is vaccinated. We could vaccinate everybody if they would wind up saying that, let's just put everything aside and get vaccinated and put an end to this terrible tragedy.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. That's basically it. So, the reason why I bring all of this up is because there's a new study that's this isn't I think that more is warranted, but this doesn't look good on the surface. This doesn't look good on the surface. Biotech Pfizer vaccine is less effective at preventing coronavirus cases. Based on data from June, the vaccine demonstrated 64% efficacy at preventing cases, 94% effective at preventing hospitalizations. Yeah, so we're getting more data as as we do more studies and we get more numbers. The biotech Pfizer vaccine appears less effective at preventing COVID, resulting from the Delta coronavirus variant. In other words, this new variant, is a little bit more robust against vaccination than we originally thought, which is worrisome if this trend continues, right? This is a early study, early preliminary data, according to early data from Israel. From June 6th to July 2nd, this vaccine demonstrated 64% efficacy at preventing cases, 94% effective at preventing hospitalization, the Israeli Health Ministry announced late Monday, according to Ynet News. Yeah, so basically, this is concerning.
Those results compare with previous data showing an efficacy rate of around 94% at preventing infections. Between May 2nd, my birthday, and June 5th, the vaccine was 98% effective at preventing hospitalizations for coronavirus infection.
In the time between two datasets, the country has lifted lockdown restrictions at the same time as the arrival of the Delta variant, which is more transmissible.
Data from the UK has also indicated that vaccines are less effective at preventing infections with the Delta variant, but that they remain effective at preventing severe disease.
Meanwhile, Public Health England on July 2nd said data suggests vaccine effectiveness against symptomatic disease from one dose of the vaccines in use provides about between 55 to 70% efficacy. Data on 2 doses indicates an effectiveness about 65 to 90%. So I think that most of this is like on the lower end. These 65% like on the lower end, it's probably like those who are a bit immunocompromised. So I imagine that that's where those numbers fall. However, if this trend continues, because these are just preliminary like data that we're just getting, this doesn't mean that this doesn't mean that this is the consensus so far. But the point of me bringing this up is that it can go down this trend should this virus decide to give us another variant, right? Should we have another variant, it is quite possible that maybe the next variant will be even better at avoiding
We're gonna go extinct.
Yeah, they're even better at avoiding this vaccine. So TLDR, we should probably try to stamp this out as quickly as possible so that we can
see your pandemic and I will raise you an extinction event.
Well, we're already in the middle of those. It's okay. Listen, if the pandemic won't get us, climate change will, so it's okay. We got all our bases covered, all right? We're facing checkmate. We're facing checkmate.
I can't.
Like
Beep 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 beep.
it's only
Beep beep beep.
it's effectively only a matter of time depending on what we do or don't do. So folks, if you want to...
My face is now full of Bailey hair.
So folks, if you want to do your part to prevent this from happening, just do your part. Follow CDC guidelines, talk to your doctors if you have any question. We don't have another variant, maybe many, God forbid, COVID-22. I don't know, Larry vaccinated, it's possible. Any of these scenarios are quite possible and very concerning.
We all finna die.
Oh, not if you're vaccinated. New infrastructure deal must focus on climate. Climate activists and their and their Democratic allies in Congress are persisting with renewed urgency for huge investments to slow global warming. After a bipartisan infrastructure plan cut out some of President Joe Biden's key climate initiatives.
No, I will not do the 3 paragraphs. I'm gonna freestyle.
Fine, go for it.
Okay. Supporters say a larger Democratic-only package now being developed in Congress must meet Biden's promise to move the country towards carbon-free electricity, make America a global leader in electric vehicles, and create millions of jobs in solar, wind, and other clean energy industries. The passage of a larger multi-trillion-dollar bill faces significant hurdles even if Democrats use a procedural method that requires only a simple majority. It's far from certain, in an evenly divided Senate, that moderate Democrats will agree to an expansive measure that could swell to as high as $6 trillion. On the other hand, a less costly bill that does not fully address climate change risks losing support from large numbers of liberal Democrats who have pledged action on an issue that Biden has called the existential crisis of our times. Womp. Okay, guys, quick, before Carlos puts his headphones back on. Just act normal. Act natural. We didn't have this whole discussion. Don't tell him anything. Just act natural.
Excellent. The what now?
What?
Oh. Mike Bloomberg for president. Pretty sure we have like 10,150,000 million bajillion choices before we would have to resort to Mike Bloomberg. I wonder how many Congress critters have vaccinated or not. I bet over 90%. I don't know. Some of our GOP friends are refusing to get vaccinated.
Some people are special.
Sure. Elimination of climate measures in the bipartisan plan comes as the effect of climate change, like worsening disasters such as hurricanes, wildfires, and drought are increasing. Scientists urge immediate action to slash greenhouse emissions to avoid the worst consequences of global warming. The bipartisan infrastructure deal is not a climate bill, said Jamal Rad, an executive director of Evergreen Action, an advocacy group that pushed for urgent action on climate change, and we know that fossil fuel lobbyists in Washington are already hard at work to eliminate key provisions from the Democratic-only package. To meet this moment, Democrats must stand firm and pass a package that makes historic investments in climate, jobs, and justice.
Even the bipartisan agreement is not certain to pass a closely divided Congress. A framework announced June 24th by Biden and a bipartisan group of senators does not include legislative provisions, and many details need to be worked out. Senate Finance Committee Chairman Ron Wyden D.O.R. called the bipartisan deal inadequate when his state and others in the West face a record heat wave and destructive wildfires. It will not include comprehensive clean energy policy, and I am not willing to support throwing climate change overboard, Wyden said. The two bills have to be directly connected.
That's right. So the reason why I continue to bring this up and to talk about the infrastructure bill is, again, with the for the umpteenth time, I firmly believe that if we can't get this initiatives, any type of initiatives, in terms of kickstarting our transformation from fossil fuels, anything, if we can't get that on board with the infrastructure bill and attempt to pass it through reconciliation if need be, whatever tools are necessary, whatever capabilities we have to pass some of these things, if we can't do it, I have fear that it is most likely the case that all and any type of momentum gained in an attempt to get legislature like this will be gone, and to regain that will be incredibly difficult in terms of like political will. This is as close, I think, as we've gotten to entertaining the idea, to entertaining the possibility of maybe, perhaps, hopefully get something started to then maybe build on that. During the primaries, I was telling my politician relatives that Mike Bloomberg was running was a joke. Then he started to working for Bloomberg, and out of spite, and out of spite tried to quietly get me to work for him by not naming the candidate I would be helping. I declined. Good on you, KTS. The $973 billion bipartisan deal includes money to build a national network of electric vehicle charging stations, purchase thousands of electric buses, upgrade the electrical grid. It also spent $55 billion to improve drinking water and wastewater systems, $47 billion in its resiliency efforts to tackle climate change. But many climate-related proposals were cut out, including plans promoted by Biden to make electricity carbon-free by 2035 and spend hundreds of billions in tax incentives for clean energy, such as wind, solar power, and technologies that capture and store carbon emissions.
Sorry, got distracted again. In La Crosse, Wisconsin last week, Biden highlighted projects that would get more money from the bipartisan bill, such as hybrid buses and road repair equipment. And the White House says climate considerations will be a key part of the plan for infrastructure, jobs, and education that would be determined solely by Democrats through a budget reconciliation process in Congress. Activists say the bipartisan framework falls short on nearly every important climate commitment Biden laid out in his initial proposal in the spring, including energy upgrades for buildings, a civilian climate corps, and massive spending on environmental justice. The White House saying it is holding firm on Biden's ideas released makes way more sense. A memo last week reaffirming its commitment to bolster the electric vehicle market, make buildings and property more resilient to harsh weather patterns, and ensure the country's electrical grid becomes carbon-free by 2035. Environmental groups say that is not enough.
Yeah, this is unbelievably frustrating. Like, we are at a... Oh, man, my back really hurts, so probably, the stream will end at its normal time, 11:30. Geez, like, it is unbelievably painful. We're at a crossroads here where we have choices to make, and our leaders, our representatives have choices to make, and failure to address this will result in a lot more bad down the road. This is a historic narrow opportunity to combat the climate crisis, and we can't afford to kick the can down the road any further. True, said Lauren Maunus, an advocacy director for the Sunrise Movement, another environmental group. When Democrats agree to water it down more, they're condemning Americans to untold devastation. Like, the reality is, I mean, right now, in this timeline, just in the city of Houston, they're having to consider spending billions, tens of billions of dollars to raise a, quote, seawall to try to, like, deal with the impending obvious rises of sea levels and storm surges that happen when hurricanes come, because they're starting to be more common, they're starting to be stronger, and as sea level rise creeps up, this is no longer an option, but a necessity. Although for how long that seawall is going to be effective is, well, yet to be seen. But just that section in Houston, just that city, is considering or had to consider spending tens of billions of dollars. I mean, hurricanes create massive amount of damage. And that's just in the Gulf Coast and in the East Coast. I mean, at what point? Wildfires in California created an untold amount of, well, not untold. We know it was in the realm of billions, I think, of damage. Last couple of weeks, we had unprecedented temperatures. We had triple digits in Siberia, folks. We had triple digits in Canada. Still, I think it's another heat wave is coming. We had triple digits in Portland, 116. There were records breaking. There was heat records that were broken back to back in a single weekend. I mean, when do we start doing something about it?
That's okay. Just turn your air conditioner off.
Yeah, just turn the air conditioning off, put your headphones in, nothing's happening. Everything is A-okay.
It's all good. It's all good, man.
It's all good.
Why you're panicking.
Right, it's the coldest summer of the rest of your life. Welcome to the new normal, folks. The push on climate comes as some on the left expressed disappointment at several Biden administration actions on the environment. While generally supportive of Biden's approach, environmentalists are troubled by decisions to go forward with a huge Trump-era oil project on Alaska's North Slope and to defend 2 oil pipelines in the upper Midwest, the Dakota Access Pipeline and Enbridge Energy Line 3 replacement project. Environmentalists are also frustrated by the administration's failure to revive a ban on federal coal sales imposed under President Barack Obama.
Oh, wow. While Biden made good decisions in rejecting the Keystone XL oil pipeline and drilling on Alaska's Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, his administration's support for other oil projects and pipelines undermines Biden's commitment to slow global warming, said Drew Caputo of the environmental law firm Earth Justice. We're not going to successfully fight climate change if we trade pipeline for pipeline. An oil project for oil project, he said. We have to transform the economy. Investing in expensive fossil fuel infrastructure like pipelines really puts the administration's ability to deal with climate change at risk.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I don't know if it's, like, collectively the issue. We know who the actors are who are perpetuating this crisis that are vaccinated. I appreciate you stopping by. But yes, just to answer the point, it's not the collective of the human population. It is a very select group of people who are perpetuating this and who are allowing this to continue. It's not a collective, like, it's not the collective of humanity thinking that, making these decisions, right? It's not the collective of humanity who own ExxonMobil, right?
How it worked, and that's why we're all really rich and have a lot of money.
Yes, correct. Oh man, if I could, hold on. You know what? I think this is worth playing again. So after we go over this article, I'm gonna pull up that video. So let's just get through this one here. The letter, led by Representative Mike Levin of Florida, Andy Kim, California, wow. California, Andy Kim of New Jersey, Sharice Davids of Kansas, and outlines 5 climate priorities in the reconciliation package, including carbon-free grid by 2035, replacement of lead water pipes, service lines, and a commitment to 40% of program benefits are reserved for poor minority communities harmed by toxic pollution from refineries and other sites. Levin, who serves on the House Climate Change panel, said in an interview he's confident that Biden sees the climate crisis as an existential threat to the future, that it is, and will act as the moment needs. Well, that is yet to be seen, folks. That is yet to be seen.
Asked about concerns by some activists that Democrats may shy away from spending trillions on climate change, Levin said, "Don't agonize, organize," borrowing a quote often used by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. There's uncertainty about what Democrats ultimately will approve, Levin acknowledged, but also continued optimism to do the right thing. Levin cited a bill approved by the House last week authorizing a $715 billion for roads, rail, public transit, and water over 5 years. The bill, which will probably serve as a marker in infrastructure negotiations, includes money for electric vehicle charging stations and other elements designed to counter climate change. Transportation is the largest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions in the U.S. I thought it was cow farts.
Whoops, sorry guys. The main problem with that is, like, yes, it does release, methane, but it's the land and the deforestation and the processing of all that combined that kind of make it a problem. On top of that, yes, cow farts. House Transportation Committee Chairman Peter DeFazio, the bill's primary, I see, the Democrat of Oregon. The bill's primary author said the threat of climate change means we have to rebuild in ways that we never thought about before. It's going to be expensive, but the good news is it's going to create millions of good paying jobs. Yeah, which is like another selling point, right? It's another selling point. You can make this an economic stimulus, basically. That's what you can sell it as. This is yet another way to bolster the economy by providing jobs and propelling us into the future. There you go. Your camera died. Black square.
Okay, sorry, I got distracted.
So I feel like we need to play this video again because, again, just to take Larry Vaccinated's point, it is not the fact that humans are, quote, collectively dumb. It's that there's a small amount of group of people who we can point the finger to, right? There's a small group of people that we can point the finger to. I don't remember, did Obama ever follow through on his green jobs promise? Lol. No. No. Not at all. Not that I can think of. I mean, like, I think he put like some environmental regulations and you know, threw a little bit of protections here and there, and then just kind of called it a day. Now, he didn't do anything regarding green jobs, as far as I can remember. Anyway, so like here, well, yeah, he'd love to talk about a lot of stuff. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of it was brought to fruition. Granted, there was a lot of Republican obstruction. We can attribute that to some of it, but also, like, I don't know, just how much willingness there really was to do much about any of this, and especially when it comes to climate change. I feel like even with the majorities in all the houses, in both houses, I don't know, sorry, in both the chambers, I'm not sure if the political will was there. We need Frank Underwood to step in, true. So yes, here we have the video, which I think is completely underplayed. I barely see. I barely see this being told. I mean, there's like articles here and there, but in terms of like wall-to-wall coverage, this type of stuff should be the kind of stories that deserve like wall-to-wall coverage, but gets absolutely none. Yeah, there isn't a willingness. Sometimes we get thrown an actual bone. Yeah. Exactly. That's a better way of putting it. That's a better way of putting it. But yes, I think that like this, the fact that this isn't like wall-to-wall coverage is like beyond me.
Recording devices. On K Street. Last month, in a European capital, Unearthed, Greenpeace UK's investigations unit, is making the final preparations, wiring up with covert recording devices. On K Street, Washington,
I don't think so, Harley Ellis. He still works there. They're just trying to like play it off as like, oh well, it's an oopsies. This actually doesn't represent our views.
For the call. The timing's vital. What may be America's greatest chance to combat the climate crisis is going through Congress right now. The video connection is set up. It's time.
Damage is done anyways. It's on video.
Moments later, Mr. McCoy will become one of the first ever executives to claim that ExxonMobil has aggressively fought climate science using front organizations to maximize shareholder profit.
Did we aggressively fight against some of the science? Yes. Did we join some of these shadow groups?
So, clearly, you know, like I said, it's not. This is not the collective of humans. There's very clear bad actors and very clear people who we can point the finger to and say, look, these guys have these guys have a share of responsibility.
To work against some of the early efforts. Yes, that's true. But there's nothing illegal about that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We were looking out for our investments. We were looking out for our shareholders.
In response, Exxon said, "We've supported climate science for decades and accused Greenpeace of waging a multi-decade campaign against them and the industry." Keith McCoy thinks he's being headhunted for a new job. In fact, of course, he's being covertly filmed. So tonight, a man boasting at a job interview, or a never-seen-before look at how big oil tries to manipulate big power, or both? First, the targets.
No big deal, we just have no
Congressman
ethics and
Carl
planetary
Fish.
death wish.
Exxon
Ooh, woo.
is the fisherman.
Facts.
When you have an opportunity to talk to a member of Congress, I liken it to fishing, right? You have bait, you throw that bait out. It's all these opportunities that you use, and to use the fishing analogy again, just to kind of reel them in, because they're a captive audience.
Oh my god, this is so gross. Like how this guy describes it. These are elected officials that he's, quote, fishing for. I mean, look, whoever did this undercover work, I think it was the Greenpeace guy, like 100% props to this guy. 100% props. I mean, like, jeez. The audacity of these people.
They need you, and I need them.
Senators pressed to do Exxon's bidding behind closed doors.
You want to be able to go to the chief. And so the chief knows you, that you can go to the chief and say, look, we've got this issue. We need Congressman so-and-so to be able to either introduce this bill. We need him to make a floor statement. We need him to send a letter.
We need him to make statements on the floor of the Senate or House. We need you to consider passing this bill. I mean, like, Jesus Christ.
The fish.
I'm Joe Manchin. I approve this act because
The biggest catch, according to Mr. Coy, it's the conservative Democrat Senator Joe Manchin, who famously shot President Obama's cap-and-trade climate bill.
And I'll take dead aim at the cap-and-trade bill.
Joe Manchin, I talk to his office every week. He is the kingmaker.
I talk to his office every week. He is the kingmaker, folks. Amazing.
And he's not shy about sort of staking his claim early and completely changing the debate.
Legal declarations show that Senator Manchin has received tens of thousands of dollars from ExxonMobil and its trade associations.
Tens of thousands.
McCoy names 10 other senators as crucial.
Yeah, we went over this like on Saturday. It just happens to be that 10, folks, is the magic number for the filibuster in a evenly split Congress. Amazing.
Senators Mark Kelly, Chris Coons, Shelley Moore Capito, Kirsten Sinema, John Tester, Maggie Hassan, John Barrasso, Steve Daines,
President
Cornyn,
Joe Manchin,
and Marco Rubio. All bar Kelly and Hassan have taken money from Exxon totaling $117,000. We gave all these senators a chance to respond. None did so. Exxon insists our lobbying efforts are fully compliant with all laws and are publicly disclosed on a quarterly basis.
Surprise.
I'm surprised.
Nonetheless, a degree of secrecy appears.
Listen, the price of the planet is but a mere $117,000. Like, what a return on investment. I pay $117,000 to get these, like, senators on board with certain bills to keep my pockets lined. Amazing. Amazing.
To be key, the last thing Exxon seems to want is open accountability, facing Congress in public.
We don't want it to be us to have these conversations, especially in a hearing. It's getting our associations to step in and have those conversations and answer those tough questions and be the for lack of a better term, the whipping boy for some of these members of Congress.
So he says they hide behind trade bodies to avoid public scrutiny on the Hill.
Our CEO was invited to a hearing from a member of Congress who we know is just going to rip him to shreds when he goes there. The main thing that they're looking at is just to get ExxonMobil in front of a congressional hearing so they can rip us apart.
Big oil, big power, big pressure. The route from the K Street lobbyist offices to Capitol Hill is very well trodden. From the street to the hill, we can now reveal the current ExxonMobil battleground and strategy.
It's big, yes. It's bold, yes. And we can get it done.
Just last week, as America continues to suffer heat waves described as apocalyptic and linked to the current climate crisis, President Biden fought to get Congress to pass his $2 trillion showpiece law, linking jobs and infrastructure to massive spending to combat climate change. On Capitol Hill, though, Exxon was also fighting to strip out spending on climate. Forget that, it lobbied. Stick to roads and bridges.
So that's a completely different conversation. When you start to stick to roads and bridges, and instead of a $2 trillion bill, it's an $800 billion bill. If you lower that threshold, you stick to highways and bridges, then a lot of the negative stuff starts to come out. Why would you put in something on emissions reductions on climate change to oil refineries in a highway bill? So, and people say
right. So this is how they finagle it, right? To get all of those important provisions out. This is unbelievably gross. This is why, like, when people bring sufficient change, you have to vote. You vote 10, they'll get another 10. Yeah, I mean, like, I still think that as long as that's available, as long as that tool is available, we shouldn't cede that tool. Because if you don't vote, you know, I mean, like, you still have to, like, participate in it. It's not the end-all be-all, of course, but we shouldn't cede that tool if possible. Yeah, exactly. Not only are state governments cooperating with these corporations, but their agencies are also infiltrating and criminalizing those who resist them. True. We should have been weaning off the shit long ago. Oh, decades ago, in terms of fossil fuels. Decades ago. But as we saw, specifically with ExxonMobil, they've been obfuscating this for quite some time. They've been lying to the public. They've been engaging in a monumental effort to dispel any type of, like, meaningful climate discussion. It's clearly it's clear who these bad actors are, and ExxonMobil is one of them.
that doesn't make any sense. Then you get to the germaneness and say that shouldn't be in this bill.
Sure enough, last week Biden's behemoth bill evaporated. A new law may be agreed, but major green initiatives are gone. Coincidence? Or the big oil effect? Nothing illegal, just oiling the wheels of power.
Right, nothing illegal,
Exxon
folks.
said our discussions on the bill are not accurately portrayed. Our lobbying efforts are related to a tax burden.
Yep, turn everything off, put your headphones in, turn the AC up, or I guess down. Turn the AC down, put your headphones in. Nothing to see here, folks.
That could disadvantage US businesses.
Plans capture CO2.
Recent academic studies show what Keith McCoy alleges is the wider Exxon strategy. Say one thing in public, do another in private. For example, it says publicly it supports a carbon tax. Keith McCoy says privately that's just PR.
Nobody's
unbelievable
to propose a tax on all Americans. And the cynical side of me says, yeah, we kind of know that. But it gives us a talking point that we can say, well, what is ExxonMobil for? Well, we're for a carbon tax.
And why? Because they're confident it'll never happen in America.
No, it's not going to. A carbon tax isn't going to happen. And the bottom line is it's going to take political courage, political will.
Anybody that goes against power.
And that doesn't exist in politics.
Was found in undercover officer attached environmental group to basically spy on them. Yep, that's not uncommon.
Economy-wide price on CO2 emissions.
We're working on ways to provide energy while addressing the risks of climate change.
Take electric cars. It's all about doubt and delay.
You're not going to be able to just switch to battery-operated vehicles or
That's
wind
Jesse.
for your electricity. And just
As
have
Atlantic World Jesse said earlier, I mean, there have been like developments in technology for electric vehicles, probably even before the 90s. I think that the first electric car was being in the works from like the 60s-ish, 70s. Hold on, before I start like doing the whole fake news thing. First electric cars. History of the electric vehicle. Electric vehicles first appeared in the mid-19th century. An electric vehicle held the vehicular land speed record until about 1900. Nice. Even before then. Amazing. So clearly we had the, basic rudimentary capabilities since the 1900s. But of course, all of these companies did whatever they could to snuff that, and I guess whatever lines your pockets, whatever makes that pocket deeper.
having that conversation around why that's not possible in the next 10 years is critically important to the work that we do.
But science is screaming at us that we do not have 10 years. Delay, doubt, deflect, the classic hallmarks of modern-day climate crisis denial. And ExxonMobil's alleged involvement in that is thus revealed from the inside tonight, straight from the horse's mouth.
Yep. I mean, what's it gonna take, folks? What's it gonna take?
Apparently quite a lot.
Apparently quite a lot. It's true. So yeah, the reason why I keep bringing this up is because the infrastructure bill is incredibly important to try to get momentum on the climate change initiatives. And if it doesn't happen, then I fear that it won't at all. And that's a good GG, guys. Good game, everybody. Alright, folks. Last meme story for the day. It's sort of a meme, but sort of serious. Trump says he's made decisions on 2024. It is quite possible that this guy is getting ready to run. He just did his second rally in Sarasota, Florida, and it seems like it's quite possible that this guy is getting ready to run. Quite possible. Former President Trump told Fox News, Sean Hannity, Sean Hannity that he had made a decision on whether he will run for president again in 2024. You're not going to answer, but I have to ask. Where are you in the process, Hannity said, regarding his decision whether to mount another White House bid? Let me ask you this without giving the answer. Wait, what? Hold on. I'm sorry. Let me ask you this without giving the answer. What the answer is, have you made up your mind? Yes, Trump responded.
No, I just want to go cry.
Okay.
That's horrible. I hope he doesn't.
I hope he doesn't either, but it is something we should probably take into consideration.
I can't even.
It's either that or Ron DeSantis.
How about just none of them?
I would hope. Lambert posed as an animal rights activist, not an environmental activist. Gotcha.
Trump's answer comes days after he held his first post-presidential rally in Ohio, where he talked about the catastrophe of the Biden administration.
Trump has been seen at the top of multiple polls for Republican contenders for the 2024 election, but still would have a crowded field to face if he chooses to run. If you move forward, you know how difficult it is, but you seem ready to re-engage in that battle, Hannity said later in the interview.
It's not that I want to, Trump said. The country needs it. We have to take care of this country. I don't want to. Is this fun? Fighting constantly? Fighting always? I mean, the country. What we have done is so important.
Wait.
I'm crying.
Why is there always something to quote fight? What are you fighting? First of all, second of all, like, didn't you do like the thing? Didn't you do like the whole like make America great again? You were here for 4 years. You did your thing. Congratulations. Like, so in other words, what you're admitting to is that you didn't actually accomplish what you said you were going to do, and now that there's always this new fight you have to go after. Well, we've seen that type of rhetoric before. Just saying. There are many potential contenders for the Republican nomination, including Vice President Mike Pence and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. I think Ron DeSantis is up there. If it's not Ron DeSantis, if it's not Trump, it's going to be Ron DeSantis. Mike Pence is the distant third. He doesn't have the star power, the national profile that these folks have. That these folks have. So even though like Mike Pence is incredibly cringe and very horrible, I don't think he's that much of a threat in comparison to somebody like Ron DeSantis or Trump in terms of actually being able to win a national election. I'm not convinced that Mike Pence would be a good... I mean, for our sake, maybe he should be the nominee, because I don't think he can win. Recently, I saw an article from Business Insider said 36 QAnon supporters running for Congress in 2022. Nice meme. Nice meme. That's disturbing. That's really disturbing. 36. Can you imagine? Like, statistically speaking, a couple of them might actually win, Memmius. Like, just out of, like, statistically speaking, a couple of them might win, which is disturbing.
I'm disturbed.
Like, I can't believe QAnon is still a thing.
It's nap time. I just can't stop yawning.
That's all good. So I suppose that this is something that we should keep, in the back of our heads, that this guy is, I think, quite possibly maybe preparing to run, or opening up the platform for the person he selects as his surrogate to run. So it could be that he's opening up the platform for example, like Ron DeSantis, because it seems like they are incredibly buddy-buddy, they're incredibly similar. It's just that I think, in my opinion, Ron DeSantis is just a little bit smarter and a little bit more clever, which makes him just that much dangerous. So I think that if he's not going to run, if Donald Trump isn't going to run, I think that he's going to use these, use these rallies and use this elevation of like kickstarting this campaign style rallies again to open up the platform to the person that he does select. He does select, and that's going to be most likely Ron DeSantis out of all of them, as far as I can tell. He's the only one who's been making an effort to raise his national platform these last months. So I think that he's preparing to run. I think that is something we should also be preparing to also keep that in mind as time progresses, right? Midterms are coming up. There's a lot of stuff in the works here. So again, folks, do not cede this tool. Do not cede this tool. Okay? There's going to be a lot of important races coming out, and I highly suggest that everybody pay attention to what's going on. Especially if this thing, Memmius, if what you're saying is like true. Holy yikes. 36 QAnon possibly members attempting to run for Congress. I mean, this is a wake-up call, folks. This is a wake-up call. Please pay attention. Please pay attention, okay? I know voting isn't the end-all be-all, It isn't the only thing that you can do, but why seed that tool? Thank you for the shout out, of course. Morning. Yes, so just TLDR, please pay attention. Folks, it is about to be 11:30, so I do have to get going simply because my back is absolutely killing me. It's like really hard to stay seated in the seat.
Every day it's a different excuse.
It is a different story. I'm getting creative with my excuses. I'm getting creative with my excuses. Amazing. Hold on. I think, wait, what, a Trump-loving insurrectionist and a convicted stalker among the 36 supporters. Nice meme! So yeah, there are about 36 of them. He was wearing a QAnon t-shirt in an interview with Fox News. Excellent. I think we might have to go over this one tomorrow.
Oh boy. We gonna have to do this shit again tomorrow?
Heck yeah. We're here Monday through Thursday. Alright folks. We're gonna head out. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button. Don't forget to follow. Don't forget to do the YouTubes. Alright, do the YouTubes. It really does help us out. Here, I'll post the exclamation YT and join the Discord to keep up with the channel offline. Do all that awesome stuff. We really appreciate all your support. You guys are what makes this channel grow. So if you enjoy the content, don't forget to spread the word far and wide to everyone and anyone that this is the chillest place to be for news and politics, Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And join us on Saturday Catterdays, where we have a more chill session. And kitty cats are guaranteed.
That's right, you even had a kitty cat today.
Yes, we even had a kitty cat today. Last week we actually got to see a deer. So come hang out with us. You'll never know what you'll see. I appreciate all of you guys. Oof, my back. No, my back really hurts. Jesus Christ.
God damn it, Carlos.
Oh, I can't do it.
You didn't do anything. You're just sitting.
No, I know. I think it's better. I think it's thank you, Memius. I think it's honestly posture. I think that's what it is.
I've always told you to stop slouching.
Yes. I think it's posture because I may have slept wrong, so now that I've been sitting for about 2 hours or so. Jeez.
Why are you like this?
Yeah, it's really painful. Bye, Bree. Alright, folks, again, thank you. We appreciate all of you guys. Please stay safe. Please take care of each other. We love y'all, and we hope to see you guys in the next one. See ya!
Yeah.
Alright, so hang with us, folks. We're gonna go to, let's see.
Who are we rating today?
Is, Bleep Blomp Ben? Alright, yeah, let's just raid Ben. He always raids us on the weekends. Such a nice fellow. Great community. Let's just hang out with them for a bit.
You guys better behave over there.
Yeah, I'm watching. I see everything. We're heading out in 5, 4, 3,
2,
1. Here we go.
Someday we'll get it right.
One day. That's okay. See ya.
You just have to stop pausing.
Because I'm trying to get the same sync with you.
No, just keep going. I'm syncing with you. It's like you've never played an instrument with anybody before or something.
I don't know what you're talking about.